Hey, what is up? We got a new movie review. Jason Statham in Wrath of Man. Yeah, I just saw that one the other night. Before I start, spoilers. They're in all my videos. Even the coffee reviews, I spoil the coffee, so watch out for that. But Wrath of Man. Okay. I almost didn't see this one. I was just at Alyssa's family's house, and then they were like, you all want to see that new Jason Statham movie? I've been mistaking it for the other one that's coming out, Nobody, which, I had to correct myself last night before I filmed this. So yeah, it was Wrath of Man, the other new one. What is Wrath of Man? Well, Jason Statham plays Kaiser Soze, and there's another armored truck heist element, just like the town in, I believe, is 2012, back at the height of the heist movie genre. And I guess the dip would be probably GTA 5 in their heist, because at that point it had already been done multiple times. So, yeah. I guess the movie starts with a armored truck heist. Okay, I mean, it's a standard heist. You find out that two people were shot, and then a person, a civilian, the armored truck guys were shot. And it opens, actually, with the most forced dialogue ever. You act like these are two people who have just never spoke, like it's both of their first day on the job. And then they get robbed with automatic weapons. And like, I've seen some elaborate armored truck heists in movies. Also, a few fake ones, or where they simulate a truck heist, and those were just never that great. But yeah, again, they're always able to cut in the truck. It takes like 30 seconds for them to disable it and cut it up. So yeah, they drive construction equipment in front of the truck so it can't plow through it, which they address later in the movie when setting up another heist. Okay, so yeah, heist happens, and then it's the introduction for the main armored truck company. Some private armored truck company in Los Angeles. Okay, I buy it. Uh, I think most of them are privately owned and they just cart around the cash. Does it work for like a private bank though? No, I always thought they brought like large sums of cash to, banks and stuff. They say marijuana dispensaries, which that's actually a real thing. A lot of dispensaries take cash only, uh, because it's not federally insured yet, so they have to accept cash payments, and then they basically have to cart around like millions of dollars in cash in some places. Uh, but then that's about where the realism kind of stops. So Jason Statham, he's at a job interview. Now again, at this point, I thought I was watching Nobody, and he does very subpar in this job interview. They're like, you need 70% to pass, which was real, but it's for like, you know, a security company, so I don't know how accurate you got to be with like weapons training and IQ and all that to be in a security company. Driving a cash car though, it's probably got to be pretty extensive. Um, yeah, and then they advert to their like best of the best. So, that comes into play too. But I thought I was watching Nobody, and he did really subpar. So I was like, oh, a Jason Statham an action movie where he's not like immediately shooting it like three times in the bullseye or whatever. He's not emptying a clip with no recoil. Um, so yeah, and then that's established, and then he's a little off because I mean, but basically goes out to pool, and then what was it? yeah, it's a pretty standard movie so far. Nothing too interesting happens, though people are telling him about that cash robbery. So then, first day on the job, um, after the initial introduction where he meets everybody and some agents have something out for him. First car heist, where apparently, I know they happen. I know people rob cash cars, but this movie makes it seem like it's a daily thing where, cash cars are constantly getting attacked with, like, automatic weaponry and, convoys of, like, armed people in the United States. And I'm just like, I know it happens, but just not that often. Um, but yeah, so Post Malone and his gang attack it, and then that's when Jason Statham flips, okay? He's no longer like Mr. Nobody, because it's what movie I thought I was watching. He ends up shooting like. It was definitely more than six, but then they're like, you killed six guys without, flinching. And then Post Malone was like the last guy. He tries running off. And then Jason Statham leaves the cash car open with like, one guy and then one other guy that got kidnapped. And he just chases down Post Malone so he could shoot him multiple times. Enacting vigilante justice, which was poorly guided to begin with. But goes back to the office. They're praising him. Now, in real life, that would never ever happen. He broke protocol, is talking like they're in combat or something. We're not leaving one of our own behind. And then he chases down somebody, leaving like millions of dollars they were carrying at stake. You know, employee death is one thing, I guess, but I guess they were worried about them carrying it. But they wasn't clearly defined what the procedure was for that. One guy was about to leave the other dude who got kidnapped in the process, but yeah. Again, if he broke the workplace protocol like that, it wouldn't be like they wouldn't be throwing him a party. They would be, we would have gotten fired if this was a real movie, if this was a real workplace. There's no praise for that. You break protocol and endanger yourself and other people. That's something you get fired for. So there is that. He's not a hired mercenary. They equipped him with like a 9mm pistol. So, yeah, kills all the people though, gets praise, and then they go back. Next day, get robbed again, this time by different people and different heist mechanics. And then he steps out. One of the guys sees Jason Statham and he's like, no way, I'm done robbing the cash car. And then they all retreat before he can kill anybody. Again, a little far-fetched, a little ridiculous. What was is this like it didn't have cliches saying like don't you know who I am, because that Sopranos did that once, and the people didn't, and then they shot the guy even though he was connected in Tony Soprano's gang and he was a made man, so it was a big thing, though they never even sought justice for that. But it didn't do that. I find it so cheesy when people do that, but yeah. And then more backstory and stuff. So you find out that Jason Statham was there the day that they did the robbery. And the person who was shot, the civilian who was shot to death, was his son. And then it shows flashback sequence where, oh, he's running to the car. And then he gets shot multiple times. But he survived. But then he was still involved in the shooting for this armored car company. And, they were just like, isn't that a little suspicious? Furthermore, that this was Jason Statham's gang who was giving him called. He's a mobster now, okay? And the whole reason he and his son were there that day is because somebody hit a drunk driver or something, and they had to call out from this heist. So he was involved. Him and his son got shot. Jason Statham survived, but then he gets back, and then It's not his gang who did the heist. Oh wow, so random. I'm wearing a completely different shirt, you know, and it's a completely different week. Kind of reminiscent of this movie, you know? Feel like they just stopped halfway through, which might mean, that might be like a whole COVID thing. I don't know when they were filming it or what, if it was delayed. If they were all like this movie, though, I would say probably a strong, you know, no go. Guy Ritchie, if all your films are like this, is bad. You got a bunch of cliches, you know. You got Jason Statham being uninteresting, and a bunch of like action scenes with fully armored guys with fully automatic weapons. I mean, yeah. So far, maybe a 2 out of 5 for the entire movie. Not a great one. So, see Wrath of Man or see Nobody. I don't know, but don't be there for the ride. Don't expect much. All right, till next time.